how we really get down in the studio. We don't come dressed.
No, man.
We come comfortable.
Oh, that's exactly, yeah. So what's your story, man? Why the will to express and share at that level?
Well, honestly, it started out of anger. If you listen to a lot of my earlier stuff, my stuff when I was younger, I went through a real bad relationship with my father. He was real abusive to my mom. He was abusive to me. So I grew up just real angry, mad at the world. And I'm small, so I was getting picked on at a young age and stuff like that. So I started lashing out at people. I started bullying the people that were bullying me once I decided to start fighting back, and I started letting out all my anger that I had built up from my dad and the stuff that was going on there and directing it towards other people. And then I've always been a nerd too, even though I might not look like your typical nerd. I'm into comic books. I collect all kinds of comic books. Batman stuff. I'm the biggest Batman fan you'll find. Half of my room is just loaded with, from Legos to comics to pop figures, Hot Wheels, any Batman thing I can find, I got it in there. So from a young age I was a nerd, but I like listening to hip hop. I like listening to all kinds of music. I was playing the piano, I was playing the saxophone, and I got into hip hop a little bit, and somebody turned me on to a group called the Gravediggers, which was actually RZA's group before he was with Wu-Tang. And there was a song that they came out with called Pit of Snakes. And when I heard it, it just caught my attention. Like, they were so raw and so gritty and so lyrically talented, but at the same time, it wasn't your typical rap because they were nerdy too.
It's 5:30.
Right? So it was like, they're gangster, but they're nerdy with it. I can relate to this. So the nerdy part of me was like, I can do that too. Hey, I can be wordy and stuff. And I'll never forget his verse. He says, stronger currents till my brains run rapid. Hereditary practice pierce holes through mental jackets. While commanders, niggas get caught up in the exhaust pipe, hit the frostbite, or suffer frostbites. Al of decay, maniac, barbarian, sort of Romanian, underground, subterranean, five-stepper grandson of the never, the rest of your heifers dimple, y'all resemble Uncle Fester. But piercing holes through mental jackets and all that stuff, when I heard that, I was like, hey, you can be cool, and you can still be nerdy, and come raw. Let me see if I can do this, right? And that inspired me to start doing it. So I started writing, and there was a lot of anger in there, but the nerdy part of me would come out. A lot of people don't catch it, but like almost every verse I have has a Batman reference in it. Even if it's just small. If you're a big enough Batman reference, or a big enough Batman fan, you'll catch it. Wow. Like on Zero Period, I say, break out of Arkham and then I crash in a van. Arkham Asylum is where they would lock up the Joker. It was the Insane Asylum where they lock up all the bad guys. So I mention little stuff here and there all the time, and a lot of people don't.
That is awesome.
But that's kind of where it all started from. And then, I started getting people telling me that I was good at it, especially at such a young age that I would come up with something so intellectual in what I was writing. And to me, I was having more fun with wordplay. Like, let me see how long I can make one word rhyme.
Whoa.
And not, like, say the word wrong. Like, they say you can't rhyme anything with orange. And I remember seeing an interview with Eminem where he says, yeah, they say you can't rhyme anything with orange, but if you change the word, or the vocal inflection of the word, then you can make stuff rhyme with orange, like door hinge and stuff like that, right? Well, when I was first starting, I tried to make all my raps, and I still do, I try to make them rhyme without doing that. So it made me expand my vocabulary because I can't just bend words now. I gotta find words that really line up, syllable for syllable, and rhyme like that. So that's kind of how it all started.
Wow, that's sweet. And what is your vision for this album? Because you've done hip hop, you've done that stuff. So now, what is your vision? Which is the same genre, hip hop, but now more into the realms of Deltron 3030 or whatever. You introduced me to those guys, and that was...
Yeah, when I heard that Deltron 3030 album, man, it was something that I've never heard before. It's a classic. I mean, anybody that's an underground hip hop head that knows about that stuff knows he took you on a lyrical odyssey. He takes you on a journey from the beginning of the album when it starts off with the NASA taking off, going off into a rap battle on another planet and all this other stuff before coming back to Earth. And when I heard that, it was crazy. And then the other thing that really got my attention is how it flowed from one song into the next song. It wasn't just, all right, we record a song, then we record another song, then we slap them back to back, and then from one song to the next song, it's just a complete different change or a shift in the album. His wasn't like that. And it gives you more of a movie type feel. You know, it's going through a storyline. It's not just more like a mainstream movie and less like a Tarantino movie, because rap is like a Tarantino movie, right? You might get, good rap is like a Tarantino movie, not the bad rap. I can't say bad rap is, but good rap, it might be all over the place, but eventually it'll tell you a story, right?
Right.
And that's how a Tarantino movie is. It starts off with the end, then you get a little bit of the beginning,
Right.
then you jump to like 3/4 of the movie, and by the end of the movie, you know what happened, right?
Right.
And a lot of hip hop albums are formed that way. They don't focus on flowing. And I think maybe it was because I grew up listening to classical music, playing the piano and stuff like that. I like something like a piano sonata. You know, it might have 3 different parts, 3 different movements, but they flow. One goes into another one, and it might have a crescendo or peak out and come back. Different tempos and stuff, but it's all in the same note. It's all telling the same story. It's flowing together, even though it goes faster or slower. So when I heard about this and the opportunity to be able to do this, as soon as she told me, my wife told me I got a cousin who's a conductor. I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, if I can get him to work with me, I know we can do something. I honestly believe, just by the little piece that I've heard so far, that if we buckle down and we do this right the way that I know that we're going to do it, this is going to be something that hasn't been done before. We're gonna break down some walls, and I think right now, especially, what's the date? April 9th, 2018, just to get the date on the camera. Today, what you're hearing in music, there's no art to it. Not to me. In my opinion, there's no art to it anymore. There really isn't that much talent to it anymore. Nowadays, people don't want to hear that type of music. All they want to hear is something that has a good beat to it that they can dance to, and something that they can chant over and over so they can get drunk out their minds or high out their minds or whatever, just in a different level. And I'm not knocking what people do, what they decide to do with their lives, if that's that's what you feel, but that's not, to me, that's abuse. It's abusing music, what everybody's doing in the game today. Because if you were given a talent, then you were given your talent for a reason, and you should use it, and you should cherish it. Just like this guitar over here, somebody gave me the guitar, somebody I love gave it to me, I'm not just going to leave it thrown on the floor. I'm going to have it like that. It's polished, it's sitting up, it's right there when people come in, they see it, and if you pick it up and you strum a chord on there, it's going to sound nice because you're taking care of something that you cherish. And that's what it looks like to me, is like they don't care what they do. Like if somebody gives them something like that, they just throw it out there. Or they'll go sell it for the money because that's all they're in it for.
That's it, yeah.
Everybody's just in it for the money.
The bling, man, yeah. So we call it a McDonald's generation of music consumers. Basically, we know that the best meal we can get is if we make it in at home. Right. Even better if you're growing it, man. Even better, right? But who really does that? Not much, but we can go buy stuff. Fresh, veggies, fresh, whatever it is. And that'll be way better because that'll last longer and it's just more nutrition, right?
Right.
But hey, man, everybody likes a quick fix. You know, that's just in the brain. You know, that's just the serotonin and dopamine just waiting to be stimulated. You know, in any way. That's just how it is. You know, that's humans. But very unfortunate, like you're saying. I see it more as harming our current harmony and tuning of the say we have talent and then that we choose to misuse it, right? And so what do we see right now going on? Like we will say the wars that we've seen, you know, the current vibration of the entire world is just issues, wars, more of this. Let's keep enslaving more little men, you know, and make them believe that they are special, but they're not, all this other stuff. All that has to do with us, that we're in the media, you know, it could be sound, it could be video, whatever it is. If we're putting out there the wrong message, we're going to keep getting more of the same. No one cares for anyone. Shootings at elementary schools is a normal thing now. You know, all that's just normal. Natural. Doing the, what is that called? That girls come down and do the thing with their butt.
Oh, twerking?
Yeah. Now it's the thing. Now everybody's like, who can do better and all that stuff. All right, man. What are we really learning? What is this? What is this really, you know, about? Sincerely, hey, everybody loves a great time. Cool. But to make a great time all the time, where's the depth? What's really happening? You know, the quick fix. We go to McDonald's, get the French fries, whatever burger it is, and hey, it's pretty good, you know. But after that, like 30 minutes, 45 minutes after that, you're hungry again, you know, and you're not really satisfied. You know, you'll go for another one if it is the case. Right. Same with music, same with video, movies, whatever it is. It sells, looks better, it's great. Hey, this is a fad right now, so let's keep doing more. It sells, you know, everybody's going for it. But look where we are on that, you know. Right. So when you put something with an actual message out there, you're really gonna hit. I feel like Deltron, you know, it's like, whoa, yeah, they have. I could see how they're playing it, you know, or how he's playing it, like this movie, you know, that he talks about, and all this other worlds, or in 3030 and all that stuff. But in reality, he's just talking about actually what's going on right now. Right. And how horrifying, how enslaved we are and we've been. And we've always thought that we've been taken care of and land of the free, yeah. But now we're like, oh my gosh, bail us off. Whoa, it's scary. It is horrifying, scary to really know that they have us in their hand, you know?
It's crazy. My favorite book, and what it reminds me of, is Orwellian. My favorite book is George Orwell's 1984.
Oh wow, man!
Yeah, and a lot of stuff that I haven't released yet it deals with that, with Big Brother, with, you know, us being spied on. And it's crazy that he wrote the book back in, I'm probably going to get it wrong, but I want to say maybe it was the late 50s or the 60s. What he thought the world was going to be like in 1984, that they were going to have chips inside of TVs, cameras inside of TVs watching you. And now we know for a fact that there's cameras inside of TVs. Your phone records everything you say.
Exactly.
You know, and where's all this information going?
Exactly. For what? Yeah.
So for him to see that back then and know that we're actually living it now. You know, we're not to the point that he is in the book, to where, you know, they have us all, you know, lining up like soldiers and we got to go to the factory and then come back, you know, but we're not far from it.
Right. I think we're already in it. You know, we don't see it literally, but if you zoom out, what are we doing? We're workaholics. We need to pay. Why? Because we want more money, or we want that car, or we got to pay this, or we got to pay that. And how much time do we really spend with our family and all that? So it already broke. It already severed that beautiful connection that kept the balance, right? Now it's just like, not even like monkeys. I think it's even worse. Monkeys are pretty smart, you know, to say at least. But I'm totally into that, completely into it. it's scary, but it's awesome to know that that's what's going on, and to know that we have a voice and we can actually utilize it and not just be part of the whole mass, the sheeple, that they just follow. Yeah, right. Hey, we got an offer here. How about we do an album of this, man? Because it's great. We just get 75,000 each. That'd be great for the first year, and then we just keep pushing it. Oh, whoa, that's not bad. Yeah, we'll get there, and then we'll do our stuff. No, it's never happens because the money and everything is like, yeah, let's do it. Hey, yeah, why not? But for what reasons?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Completely understand. No wonder. The reason why I'm actually basically separating from LA and all that stuff.
Right.
Because a composer classically from Germany and Poland, and then coming over here and yeah, this is awesome. This is what I want to do because it just takes care of you, right? Great, just write whatever boom beat they want, and hey, it's excellent. Let's send it off. But I got to the point that I saw myself losing my craft, and I'm like, oh man, I want to write a ballet. Just ballet to present myself. Right. And it sounded like just a Hollywood score. I'm like, oh. And then that's when I'm like, okay, no more. Let's cut it down a little because I need to pay the bills. But to a point that I can be in control and I could be like, okay, I'll do the project or not. And no longer have to be over there because I would basically live over there. Right. And then come down like once a week or whatever. Let's just move the studio down there and do my own stuff and be what do they call it? Broke musician or whatever? Hungry musician?
Starving artist?
Yeah, there you go. That's what, yeah.
I'll be a starving artist the rest of my life.
Yeah, and actually really experience life, and having your say with because you have your craft, that you won't lose. If you protect it, you won't lose that. Right. So we will always have something to say.
Right. But the skill level, I think, is just like you said, it started sounding like something different, and it's crazy. I actually learned this from a couple of other artists that I know do the same thing, but when I start writing an album like on this, I stop listening to rap. I don't listen to other rappers. I don't want to hear anybody else. Nothing that's new, that's popping on the radio right now. I don't want anything to influence what I'm going to write or what I got to say. I got a friend too that does the same thing with a beat. Like if I find a beat that somebody else had, I was like, yo, listen to this. And I would tell him, listen to what this guy did to it. He's like, no, let me write first. And then I'll listen to what he did. I don't want to hear what he did already because then I'm just going to hear that over and over when I hear this music. Exactly. So I think that's another thing is I'll go and I'll listen to it a little bit just to see what's popping and see what everybody's relating to. But then I'll step away real quick. Like, just stick my head in the door and then I'll take off because I think it's like chess, You don't get better at chess unless you pay people that are better than you. Oh, yeah. So you surround yourself with people that are better than you and you listen to people that are better than you. It makes you better yourself. All right, yeah. Right? If you're playing with people that you're always going to beat up on, you're never going to get better. Oh, yeah. You might even get worse and come down to their level because you start making moves that they're making. Exactly. So I try not to do that, and when I listen to rap, people trip out on all the different type of music I listen to, but I study people when I'm listening to them. That's why I have different people that I like for different stuff. Like Hayden, I like symphonies. String quartets, I like Schubert above everybody else. A Requiem, I want to say was Mozart, and then pianos, sonatas would be Beethoven. I might have the two mixed up right now. I've been listening to so much different stuff. I'm getting everybody mixed up. No, yeah, it sounds pretty much on it. I would highly recommend you listen to Mozart's quartets because he has. I study Mozart and Bach, like you have no idea. John Sebastian Bach. Yeah. One of my favorites too. Yeah, so to me, like in just in creation and actually putting yourself out there without having to follow whatever was
hitting back then, you know, because if you really study that time, you see in 1700s, all the music is court music. It's all music for the kings and queens, you know. That was basically it. There wasn't really music for the spirit. The only music for the spirit was when they commissioned a mass and things like that. But that was usually more like the early times, 1500s, 1600s. Bach completely took over that not as a Catholic, but more as a Protestant.
Right.
And he wrote the book on how to write for church, if you will.
Yeah.
Amazing. But Mozart, he was like his music was new to everybody. Like they didn't like it or didn't really hire. He had a lot of, he wasn't the big Mozart, you know. He was the big Mozart like 75 years after he was dead.
Right.
Because everybody was listening to whatever it was, and you know, and Haydn was the dad of commercial classical back then.
Right.
Haydn was the teacher of Mozart, so there's a lot of that. When Mozart started, he's like, oh, from here, from there, but then he completely let go.
Right.
Like Deltron 3030, if you will, and he started putting new stuff, mixing very different instrumentation, going this way and that way, when people were expecting this, so everybody could clap, and that's the movement, or he completely just went here, there. And when he wrote his quartets, they were a gift to his teacher, Haydn.
Okay.
So those quartets, before atonal music was being played or heard, he wrote first atonal music before Alban Berg, before Alban Schoenberg, and all those great guys from the 20th century and 19th century. He completely started and revolutionized just the string quartet. And Haydn is the father of quartets. Beethoven has great trios and quartets, amazing. But I highly recommend you listen. See, nobody knows about Mozart's quartets, only the ones that study it. They are mind-blowing. They're not your typical. They are real, like, Jimi Hendrix would have peed his pants if he would have heard these guys' quartets. Big fan of Jimi Hendrix, but the revolution of pushing it further and further, not caring, and only caring, the only thing that matters is if you said enough. That's the only rule. Did you say enough? Yeah, alright, good. Don't go and be like, man, you know, this is the moment where you're lit up. Because next time you try to do the same, it's going to be acting.
Right.
And you'll hear, someone that has a good ear will hear the acting in it, you know, and won't really, if you're not really sweating it and shaking, you gotta really feel it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and so I learned that stuff from Mozart, you know, like you really have to push yourself out there. You know? Yeah. Really, really. Otherwise, your execution will be just acting, you know, just posing like a picture.
Right.
It's not real, it's just posters, a bunch of posters, right?
Yeah.
And we're all like, the picture for this. But if you really look at it, it's all posing.
Yeah.
What's the truth and honest thing there? There's symbolism, it's beautiful, right? But it's posing, man.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
You know what I mean?
It's funny is I have this friend, right? He was one of the few dudes in, like, not to sound cocky, but lyrically, there wasn't a lot of people around me that can hang with me. This was one of the dudes that was good enough that I would have put him in a group if he would have stayed focused. I respected his opinion that much, but he couldn't hide if he liked something or not, which was great. Because I would take him into the studio, and while I'm rapping, I'd be looking at him at the same time because he had what we would call a doodle face, right? The whole time he'll be listening to you, he'll be going like this. And if you said a line that like just really blew his mind, he would go. He would make the doodle face, so I'd be like, I got it. If I get at least one of those in each verse out of him, then I know I got it. Then
that's nice.
I don't have to write it. And if I didn't get any out of him, I'm like, what is that verse missing? He didn't, like, he wasn't impressed with it. I could tell he wasn't impressed. I'd go back and I'd look it over and I might change something up. I wouldn't tell him, and I'd come back and be like, hey, listen to this. You know, I changed a couple things in this. You know, let me know what you think. And he was honest. And yeah, you need that type of people around. You know, my brother-in-law is one of them. I appreciate him more than I can even put into words. But we'll get into a studio. I mean, we could record a song in 3 hours. I mean, from hearing the beat to writing the hook to writing our verses, going to the studio, recording, and we can get done like that. But he's brutally honest, and he'll tell you, hey, you need to rewrite that because it sucks.
Nice.
But he could take it the same way. Our album that we put out, Life Ain't Promised Tomorrow, we did in probably a week. That's all it took us to make that album.
Wow.
And it was more just finding the right beats to go with what we wanted. And, with that one, that was something that I needed to get off of my chest because the situation with my sister and her illness, my mom being sick and stuff like that, the title just strikes home with us and probably, a lot of people around the world. Life's Not Promised Tomorrow. And there were songs that were on there that, spoke about my mother, about my sister, that were for them, songs that I had wrote for them, and just other stuff that I needed to get out. So we got it done, and we didn't rush it. We flowed that good with each other that we got it done in a week. And I mean, we're living together at the same time, so it makes things a lot easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that that's out, this is something that I want to focus on, and this isn't just, to me, it's art. Like, it's not, we're not taking a stamp and pulling out the paintbrushes.
No. I really appreciate that, man. It motivates me even more to be at my top game when I'm working with someone, and that someone first has a craft, obviously you can, and then second of all, actually right there, right next to each other, not second, but the same one is really wanting to create and not to copy or pose or be a poser, you know what I mean? Like posing, or just trying to be something it's not really there, Like maybe a lot of people that I've worked with, studio musicians, for example, like recording instruments that I need, a lot are like, they wanted to be a composer, or they wanted to be, and then when they come in and they bring that, what they wanted but they didn't go through, it stalls them because they're not open. They're still on this other height, that they still want to kind of connect.
Right.
So basically they haven't found themselves, their identity, right? And make peace with who they are and who they really can be. They still want a little bit of that because they can, and that'll just do this. We want to keep straight. And so if you come in and you have exactly that, you just want to do art, meaning it's a different world, man, which we're gonna get into some neighborhoods, man, that I've never been into, and it's gonna be so cool because we're both getting into it. Like, hey, let's check it out. What is this? Just come in here, man. It says don't knock, let's knock. Yeah. Let's throw it down. Let's see what's
flashlight.
Exactly. So I really appreciate that, man, because it's really putting me in it's giving me a how you're raising the bar, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I'm talking. I want the challenge. I want to be challenged.
Right, and that's the thing is, like I said, I haven't seen this done. I've seen people take hip hop to a bunch of different levels before, but between me and you, we listen to probably 1,000 years worth of music, right?
Oh yeah.
If we date back to what we listen to, listening to classical music, listening to a lot of 80s. I listen to heavy metal. Avenged Sevenfold is one of my favorite groups. Like, I was listening to Avenged Sevenfold all the way down here singing along with him because I can harmonize with M Shadows. I can't sing by myself, but with him, I sound decent, right? So just stuff to get me in different moods. But there's rappers that people are always going to remember their names because of what they did and stuff like that. But I think a lot of it was what they did for the culture at that time, right? What Tupac did for his people, what Biggie did for the East Coast, Dr. Dre, NWA, and stuff like that. It was about the police. Yeah, the music's there. I'm not taking anything from anybody, and I don't want anybody to take anything I say wrong. I'm not discrediting anybody. I respect all of those artists, but when you think of a name like Mozart or Beethoven you don't think about what they did. You know, their arguments with the police or with the Kings or anything. You don't know them for any of that stuff. I mean, it's there. If you look it up, you'll find what was going on in their life. But what do you recognize them for? A piece of art that they made, the music. Rembrandt, Michelangelo for his sculptures, David. You know, their name is synonymous with a piece of art that they did, right? And that's what I want us to create on this. We're gonna break. I've done it 3 times. I created a new style of rap that I had never heard before, and before I got a chance to release them, somebody did it. You know, for a lot of people that don't know, I mean, most people know, and it's easy. I mean, if you Google my name, you look me up, it's gonna pop up. I was locked up for 15 years, right? So while I was in there, I had to write music.
Wait, you were locked up for 15 years?
Yeah. I got incarcerated at the age of 19.
15 years, man. That's another big thing that we should know, in the sense of like, you got raw things going on that, man, we're probably gonna run out of beats. Just kidding. That's awesome, man. It's an experience, dude, that no one can take away or add to it or whatever. It's raw, man. 15 years, man.
Yeah, one of the crazy things was, it was 2004. Well, I ended up doing a little over 13, but it was a 15-year bid. I mean, it's almost the same thing.
15 years. No different, man.
But right, January 7th, 2004, I got incarcerated. I was still rapping at the time. But my mind never thought, I'm going to stop writing. My mind shifted, and it was, I can no longer write about current events. I can't rap about Katrina in 2004, 2006, whenever that happened, right? Because I'm going to release, whatever I write right now isn't going to get released until 2018, 2019, 2020, right?
Right.
If I rap about Katrina right now, some people might remember, right? But a lot of people are going to be like, what is he talking about?
Exactly.
So everything that I wrote while I was incarcerated had to be something that I had to approach it with the mentality that what I'm going to write right now has to be timeless. I could release this at any point in my life and it's still going to be relevant. So I think that was also a blessing in disguise, because it's easy to jump on right now and like make a cipher about Donald Trump, right? Because everybody hates Trump right now. Either you hate him or you love him. You're on one side of the side of it, right?
Yeah.
And you can make a song for either side, how much you love him, how much you hate him. It's going to resonate with everybody right now. It's going to blow up. Your name's right there, but 10, 20 years later, nobody cares about that song anymore, right? Yeah, right. You know, as soon as he's out of office, they're going to jump on the next president. They're either going to love him or hate him, right?
And it's, yeah.
And then,
absolutely.
like, who's rapping about Barack right now? Nobody.
And that was a big thing, right?
The first black president, right? If we get Hillary next year, they're going to rap about the first female president. Nobody's going to care about Trump. He's gone now. We don't have to worry about him.
Right.
I don't want my music to be like that. I want it to be something to where they say Taxxman, they remember Deltron. You say the name Deltron, it's only associated with Deltron 3030 because it was the only album. I mean, his name is Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Yeah.
But he switched his name just for that album, you know, and he came out with that. So we decided, spoiler alert, we decided to take a name for this album, right? It's also timeless. It's a book that's been around for, I don't know how many hundreds of years, thousands of years, and people still read it to this day. They use it in business and it's called The Art of War. And to me, like I said, people look around and they see instruments, and I do too, right? I see cello, guitar, piano, but I also see weapons. That's a weapon, that's a weapon. They're different weapons. When you rap, it's a different weapon. You know, people that rap fast, what do they call them? They call them a chopper.
Right.
You know, people that have wordplay, right? That's a weapon you got. It's called a punchline, right? Because it hits you, right?
Right.
It's like verbal combat when I look at it. they say the pen is mightier than the sword, right?
Yeah.
Because your words mean something. When I get into a competition against another rapper, it's called a battle, right? To me, rhyming and music isn't just rapping and hitting a drum pad over and over. There's actually art to it, you know. So our music is art. When we compete with other people, it's a war. And not just with that. When we're competing against our music, it tells what's going on in our life. If we're dealing with depression or anger or even love when it comes out, you gotta balance that stuff. Because if you get too high on one end, the other side seems like a fantasy to you. And you're living in a fantasy world now. When everything's low and you don't see the man that's starving next to you on the street and stuff like that. You can get too focused on one side and forget about the other side. You gotta remain balanced and not dwell on one so much because you can throw yourself off. So with this, I thought the art of war is perfect because that's what we're in with ourselves, trying to define who we are as people, trying to stand apart from everybody else. So everybody wants to be a celebrity. We want to stand out. We want to be the main person, but at the same time, you want to be in the crowd. You want to be liked by everybody. So you gotta balance all that. It's a war that you have with yourself, your own identity, a war that you're having with other people, trying to be the alpha male, but at the same time trying to fit in the pack where you're not alienating yourself from everybody else. And that's kind of where the title came from. I don't want to give too much away about the title because we got to leave something for the actual music, but people are going to pick it apart. And just like the same thing with the book, The Art of War, when you read it, you can take it in a couple different meanings. In rap, we call them double entendres. I say something and it has two different meanings. So you got to go in and pick it apart. And there's going to be a lot of that.
Man, can't wait. All right, well, let's go ahead and let our hair down and hear some sounds.
That'll work.
Ready?